Back to another Flutter tutorial. In today's episode, let's learn how to work with ListView widget. So now that we have models representing objects inside of our project, we have this model right here for categories. So in this episode, let's replace this placeholder and display a list of categories. So for that, we'll learn how to work with ListView widget in Flutter. So ListView widget, as the name suggests, this widget allows you to display a list of widgets. So this is a very common in mobile development. You use list views to display data in a list. So to get started, let's go inside of our widgets folder right here and create a new file. You can call this file category underscore list underscore widget dot. So for this widget, let's make it a stateful widget because the idea is to make this app very dynamic. So when a user selects an item in this category, we want to replace the items inside of the list view widget that will add at the bottom section right here. So when the user selects a category, will display which one is selected. So right here, instead of returning this placeholder, just change it to list view widget. So this is the default name constructor for the list view widget. As you scroll down, you can see we have this children property right here. So inside of this children property, you can specify the list of children the same way as you do in a column and a row widget. But the main difference between a list view and a column widget is the first of all, the list view gives you the ability to scroll. So if you have this space and you have more items inside of a list, as the user scroll, you can see more items. And another difference is when you specify items inside of a children of a list view widget, this will try to be stretched and fill all the available space in the horizontal line. So let's say we want right here 3 text widgets, and for the text, let's say this will be text 1, give it a comma, copy this text widget and paste it 2 more times. So this will be the text number 2 and this one will be the text number 3. So let's now format our code. So click on the option format document, save everything. Now copy the name of your widget right here and replace it in this first section instead of using this placeholder widget. Make sure you import your class, save everything, and now you can see we have 3 items right here, text 1, text 2, and text 3. So if you want to scroll, let's copy all these widgets and paste it a few more times. So add a comma right here, paste it, add another comma, and paste it again. So now when you save, you can see we have more items than the available space or the render box for your list view widget. So now we can scroll and see more items inside of this list view widget. So using this default name constructor, it's only conventional when you have a small items that you want to display in a list. This is because all the items inside of the list will be rendered at once. So you don't have delays load as you have other options when you do a dot, for example, and you use the builder name constructor or separated name constructor. So before we learn how to work with builder name constructor, in Flutter and in Dart, you have right here an option to create a list of widgets and generate widgets dynamically. So let's see how we can do this. The first thing you have to define right here a final variable of type list widget. We can call this categories. This will be equal to a list, and then you have to specify the type again. And now you do a dot and you have a few methods right here. So if you use this generated, and then if you hover over it, you will see right here you have the length property, and then you have this function which is returning a widget, and you'll take an index as an argument. So let's say we want to display 10 items, give it a comma, and then we have to call a method. Let's call an anonymous method right here, and then you provide an index as an argument. So right here we need to return a widget. So for this video, let's return a container widget. And then let's customize this container a bit. The first thing I want to do is specify a child widget. This will be a text widget. And right here, let's do for the text, let's say position. And then let's do a string interpolation using this index. So this will be index 1, index 2, and so forth until index 19. So here we can specify a margin. Let's say edge_set.symmetric, and you can use horizontal with a value 4.0 for pixel, and also specify the padding. Again, call the edge_set.symmetric, use horizontal, and let's say 16 for padding. After that, let's align our widget to be align center, so call the align, and one with the value of center. And after that, let's call the decoration. This will take the box decoration. Let's add a color property. This will take the colors class with a value of black. Give it a comma, and then we want to add some border. This will take the border all, give it a comma, and then let's make the border rounded using the border radius with the border radius dot circular name constructor, and for the value can be 9 pixel for the value. So give it a comma right here, add a semicolon, and let's also style our text widget right here. Call the text style, and then call the color, and let's use colors dot white as the value. So save everything, copy these categories right here, and paste it right here for the children. So what I did right here is creating this list of type widget, and then I want to generate 20 widgets, and for each widget I'm adding a text position plus the value of the index, and these are some customization that I did for the container widget. So now when we save everything, as you can see, we have this list right here, so we have to add some space among items inside of the list. So for that, you can change this one to be all, and then let's delete this horizontal right here. Save everything, reload your app, get started again, and you can see right here you have your list of items. Right here, we can do a comma and call the vertical property, and let's say 8.0 for padding from top and bottom. Reload, as you can see right here. So now instead of having this list view widget scrolling vertically, let's see how we can change it to be a horizontal list view. So to do that, you come right here and you have this property right here, scroll direction, and then you can use this class axis dot, and you select this option to be horizontal. So save everything, and here you have your horizontal list. So if you hover over this list view widget, you can see we also have another properties. We have the padding widget and other widgets that you can, or other properties that you can use right here to customize your list view widget. So now let's see how we can create our category lists. So for that, we'll do some changes right here. First of all, let's comment all this code. We don't want to generate a list anymore. The second thing I will do now is create a list, but now this time this list will be of type category. Call this categories, and then this will be equal to initially to an empty list. So for that, add the keyword right here late, because we'll define this list inside of our init state. So do an override, add override, and just call this init state right here. So now import your category, make sure it's coming from this model subfolder right here. So now we can do right here categories equals to our category class dot, and we have right here our static list. Add a semicolon. Now let's learn how we can sort a list in Dart. So if you call these categories and you do dot and you call the sort method, this method will take a function you can use right here, an arrow function. So what I'm doing right here, I will provide two categories, let's say A and B, and then I will check if A dot the category name, so we'll sort this list through this property right here, dot, and you call this one compare to, then you provide B dot category name, add a semicolon, and this list will be sorted alphabetically. If you want to do the reverse, you come right here, change it to B, and this one will be A. Save it. So let's change back to be in alphabetical order. So now that we have our list right here sorted, let's now call our category inside of our list view. But this time we will use builder name constructor right here. So now we don't have this property anymore for children. Now we have the item count. You can call it right here categories dot and call the length. So we'll tell how many items we want to generate. And then you have this method right here, item builder, which is a method that will return a widget. So we right here can call this anonymous function right here. We get the context and the index position of every item inside of these categories right here. So inside of it, we have to return a widget. We can return a container widget again. So our children, this will be again a text widget. And then for the text, what we'll do right here is get the current category. So we'll do that by defining a var and call this category. And this will be equal to our category list, and then use the brackets and provide the index. So for each item inside of this list, we'll get the current category right here. So now we can do this category dot and call right here this category name. So add a semicolon right here. Again, we can come right here and copy these properties for margin. You can copy for the padding. And then alignment. And now let's do some decoration to our container. Call the box decoration right here. So color, this will be colors dot black. Give it a comma. We want to add some border. Border dot all. Give a comma. And border radius. Border radius dot circular, and the value will be 9.0. So now for the padding, let's remove right here this vertical. We don't need it. Save everything. We get to this error right here. So what we'll need to do right here is restart our app. So get started. You can see right here that our text is not showing. So give it a comment right here and call this style. And then let's call this text style and just define the color for our text. So this property color will be equal to colors class dot white to give it a contrast. So save everything. As you can see right here, we have now our list of categories, but you can see right here this container is very big. So to make it a little bit smaller, we can play around here with those expanded widget right here. So let's say this flex will be 1, and then we can increase this to be 4. And here you have your category of widgets. So if you want this container to be more rounded, you can increase right here the value to be, let's say, 16, and this will become more curvy. Another thing we can play around with this widget is to make it very dynamic. So when the user select a category right here, we want to make this one be black and all the rest that are not selected to be gray. So to do that, we have to do some changes right here. And the first thing I want to do is define another variable right here. This will be late, type int, and this will be selected item index. this will be equal to 0 initially, so I want to display this first item as selected. So now let's create a void method on selected item. This will take an int, let's call this index, and inside of this method we'll call the set state method, and here I want to select the select item index. This will be equal to the index that we'll get right here when the user select an category right here. So now you can notice right here that we don't have any buttons right here. So to make this container clickable, we can click on this container, click on the option right here, wrap with a widget, and then call GestureDetector widget. So this widget allows you to add an event or like on tap, on secondary tap, and double tap, and so on. So our container now will behave like a button. So inside of this gesture detector, before this child property, we can call onTap, and here we can call this anonymous method right here, and then call this onSelect item, and then provide this index as an argument. So save everything. We still have no change right here inside of our list, but now because we can now keep track of this selected index, we can do conditions right here. So let's say before this color, I want to check if the selected index is equal to the current index, which means this item is being selected. I want to display this color black, otherwise I want to display colors dot gray. Save it. As you can see right here, when we select different categories, we are changing the background color. So our user experience just improve it. Another thing I can do is coming right here inside of the border. We can also specify the color for our border, so we can copy all this code right here, paste it. But now we'll do the reverse right here. So when the user select a container, I want the border color to be gray. And then when it's not selected, I want this border to be black. So save everything. You can see right here, when we select it, the border will be gray. So the next thing I want to do is specifying the size of our border. So copy this condition right here. So when the item is selected, I want the border to have 0.5 pixel, and when it's not, I want to have 0.3. Save it. As you can see, the border becomes very thin now. So this is how we can make our app more dynamic. As you can see right here, we are able to now change items. As we move forward, we'll see how we can now click on this container and change the items inside of this section right here. So, but before we finish this video, I want to show you how you can work with the separated name constructor right here. If you hover over it, you will see besides of we have an item builder, you also have this function right here, require separator builder. So we can come right here after the item builder right here, call this separator builder. This will also take an anonymous function right here. Let's use this arrow function, and right here I want to add the size box widget. So between each item we will add this size box widget, and because we are talking about horizontal list, we can use the width property right here, and let's say for the value this will be 8.0 pixel. So save everything. We can now come right here and comment all this margin right here for our container, so we can have less space among the items inside of this list. So now the only thing left to do for this video is having a decouple between our child and this list of widgets right here. So for that, copy this container widget right here, copy, and now let's create a new widget right here. So new file, call this category underscore item underscore list underscore widget dot dart. This will be a stateless widget, so we don't need to keep track of the current state right here. Change just the name, and then let's paste our container widget right here. So now we'll get these values for select index, the index, and the category using dependency injection. So to do that, we need to create this variable right here, final category. Call this category, add a semicolon, int select item index, and then int index. These all need to be final because we'll get it from the constructor using dependency injection. Right here, import, make sure it's coming from the models. Come right here, add a comma. So all the items right here are required. So use the require keyword and then do this dot category, add a comma, require, this dot index, add a comma, and then require this dot selected index. So with all this, just save it, copy the name right here, and now let's go right here and just replace this container widget. Add your parentheses, and now just call this properties right here. Category, this will be equal to category, give a comma, index will be equal to the index, and then selected item, this will be equal to select item. And now make sure you import this widget right here. So save everything. You can reload your app, get started. As you can see, this will still work the same way, but now we have a decouple between this widget right here and this list right here. So if you want to go one step forward, you can come right here, extract method, and call add a list item right here. Enter. And this is how we can work with now your list view widget. So save everything, reload your app, get started, make sure everything is work fine. So one thing I want to show you, we have an error right here. So when a user comes from this page and go into our dashboard, you can see right here we are coming back. So to solve this problem, let's open our page, home page right here. Come right here, instead of using this push name, you can call the push replace name right here. So save everything, reload your app, get started. Now we can now go back to the previous page. So this is it for this video. This is how we can work with our list view widget. In the next video, let's customize these all categories. This will be a vertical list. So in the next video, let's also create a new list view widget and use dependent injection to send all the categories to this list. So this is it for this video. Give a like to this video so we can get more exposure on YouTube, and subscribe to get notification when new videos are coming out. See you on the next one.